Alright gamers, I'm gonna go over my option settings in RE7 Fortnite Speedrun. This is gonna be the first video, I guess, in the tutorial I'm making currently. So under controls, the only thing I change, I play on keyboard and mouse by the way. So if you play on a controller, I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, in the key bindings, I highly recommend that you change your secondary confirm key from enter to another button. Preferably it'd be like if you have an extra button on your mouse. I play with the Logitech G502. I have a bunch of, well, I have not a bunch of, but I have a couple buttons on the side that aren't really used for anything. So I bound one of those to F1. So I have a confirm key on my keyboard, which is F, and then also on my mouse. This is going to be super helpful for when you have to spam item pickups or when you're trying to quickly confirm objects into their positions. Like when you put a key into a doorway or something like that, you have to hit the confirm key twice. Once to open up the inventory and then again to confirm the item. So having both keys, or having two keys, one on the mouse and one on the keyboard, allows you to do it quickly without taking your hand off your mouse. So like if you had it on F and enter, you'd have to take your hand off your mouse to do it, or like super stretch your hand. But you know, whatever works for you, I recommend having an extra button on your mouse for the confirm. Everything else I leave default. It's up to you if you want to change them. It's really just preference for everything, except for the confirm thing. I highly recommend. I think it's much better. So for display, I recommend turning off camera wobble. That's just basically going to, when your character walks, it makes it feel more realistic, where your head shakes with your footsteps. I feel like it can mess with your aim, so it's just, in my opinion, safer to turn it off. And then tutorial messages, phone icons, stuff like that, it's all up to you. Reticle, I highly recommend you have set to always display. This will make it so anytime you have a weapon out that shoots, so any of the pistols, the shotguns, the grenade launcher, a reticle will appear on your screen. I use the reticle for a lot of visual cues when I'm running, so it's very helpful to have. And then colors, preference, but I think white and blue are the best. Red is kind of gross in this game, and green is like, I guess you really like CSGO. Default settings, like, go for it. But yeah, and then brightness, you don't really need it too high. I have it like, I think this might be default actually, I'm not sure. But if you have trouble seeing, turning it up all the way might help you out, but it's also gets kind of hard to look at that level. Audio, whatever you want. Language, Japanese, if you were playing on either the Steam version or Cero D, Cero D being the Japanese censored version. If you were like, what the hell is the Japanese censored version? I will leave a link in description about what it is, the differences between the two, and how to get it. It won't be a video by me. I forget who made it. I want to say ZGL made it. I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, I'll link the video in the description. But for the voice language, if you are not doing the double D skip, which there will be a video on it, explain how to do it, it will save 1 second over the run. If you are doing double D skip, it will still save time, but it's more like 0.5, 0.3 between there seconds of time save. Display language and subtitles are up to you. This is just what language the subtitles display in, so it doesn't affect the run. Okay, graphic settings. This one is pretty important. Whatever screen resolution you play on, set it to your best resolution, make it easier for you to see. I play on 90 field of view, or field of vision, I guess. It's up to you what you want to play on, but if you're trying to copy my visual cues, or you're trying to learn the run off of my videos, I do play on 90, and if you default is 80, so if you're playing on 80 and you're trying to copy my visual cues on 90, you might have issues trying to get it to work correctly. Frame rate, there are instances in this game where having variable frame rate will help you out, but it could also hurt you. Helping you in the ways that it'll allow you to get multiple melee hits on certain enemies with higher frame rate, but at the same time enemies can do the same thing to you. It's not really too big of an issue on easy game modes, but if you're playing on Madhouse, definitely want to play at 60 frames, because if you get multi-hit by like, I think any enemy, you just, for at full HP, you just die. But yeah, so I play on variable. You can see my frame rate at the top is 600 right now, but that's just because I'm in the menu. In the game, I usually get around like later 200s to like early 300s. VSync is just gonna set the frame rate equivalent to like, I think it's your monitor refresh rate. So if you play on a 144 hertz monitor, keep in mind that VSync will not help you out for certain things later in the run. So you don't really have to mess with this for the frame specific glitches in the game. Just make sure that when you change from variable or to 60, you just use the frame rate change. And then pretty much everything else, unless you have like a pretty good computer, like my computer's pretty decent, I'd recommend playing it on low settings for everything, just to make sure that you can get as much frame rate as you can for the frame specific skips. The only things I would recommend you not having low are any of the shadow qualities. The shadow puzzles in the game are affected by the quality of these settings, so make sure to keep those up, that way you can properly see the shadows. But everything else you can either like turn off or set to low. Unless you have a good PC, you still get good frame rate. You can play like, I play on medium for some of the things, but yeah. So that's the settings for the game. Next video will be, I guess, just starting off from new game.